Greetings everyone! Well, it's 2012, 4th year of Masters of the Universe Classics line and the 30th anniversary, well, for Masters of the Universe altogether. So, I thought, well, that we should take a look of what we already have gotten from this awesome Masters of the Universe Classics line. Well, to this point, well, actually to December 2011. And this first video, there will be 3 videos. This first one will be about Masters of the Universe Classics figures released on 2008 and 2009. 2 years, because 2008 was, well, there was not that many figures released, and then there is the first full year of 2009. Well, the Masters of the Universe Classics line started with King Grayskull, and it was released on, well, San Diego Comic Con 2008, and there were three versions of that character. There was Standard, Statue and the Spirit. Well, they technically was the same figure, painted differently. Well, on Spirit version the plastic was also different. Well, the Standard and Statue versions were kind of, well, they were blindly packed, and when you bought one you didn't know what version it was. Then the Spirit version, well, there was only 2 made for public. First of them was, well, raffled at San Diego Comic Con 2008, and the second one was sold at auction later at fall 2008. Then there was also some pieces of Spirit of Grayskull that was given to Mattel employees. Well, I don't have that version of King Grayskull. I do have a King Grayskull, but we'll come to that on, well, next video, because the reissue happened on 2010. But then the second figure, the first actual figure that was, well, available for all, because King Grayskull was not well available for international buyers, because the package had electronics. But then the first actual figure was released on December 2008. Originally it was supposed to be released on late October 2008. And that first figure was this He-Man, the standard version of the most iconic figure or character from the Masters of the Universe. Of course, those of you know something about this line can spot that this is a reissue version. My first issue version, yes, I have first issue version. It's still in package and I'm not going to open it. The most notable difference between this and the first issue is that this doesn't have the red paint around the eyes. There are a couple of more differences, but you probably couldn't spot them like this. There was reversed shoulders, and then the crotch piece was wider. But yeah, the first was He-Man, and he came with all these accessories, pretty much the same accessories that the original He-Man from the 1980s came with. Of course, that only came with half sword, but classics came with and comes with the full sword also. Then, together with He-Man was released Beastman, and well, that was on the first year. Usually only one figure was released at a time every month, but since He-Man's release was pushed back, it made Beastman to be released at the same day. Of course, well, not of course, but I bought this couple of weeks after He-Man, because I wasn't sure I'm going to collect this line when I bought He-Man. So the second figure was Beastman, who came with this whip, and it kind of has loose joints, but it looks nice, details are good, and some things that this is one of the best figures released. Well, not one of my favorites, but good for those who like. Okay, and that concludes 2008. Then started 2009, and on January, the most iconic evil being on Masters of the Universe was released, Skeletor. Of course, like some you may know, this is reissue. Like with He-Man, I have the original issue packaged, but this is reissue because I wanted also well, not in package one. The most notable difference between the first issue and this reissue is that this left hand is more closed on this version. Also, this face paint is much more, well, greener than on the first issue, and pretty much every release of Skeletor has different kind of face paint, and well, and Metal has said it's on purpose. Don't really understand why, but it's their choice. Yeah. Seems that I forgot to give Skeletor his full sword. I did include the half sword, but it came with the full purple power sword, looking like sword. Okay, so after the iconic evil, then came February, and with February came Stratos. In my opinion, the most boring character released to date from this line. But there are those who like this figure, and if they do, good for them. Stratos didn't care. Well, Stratos don't have any accessories. Well, you could argue that this jetpack thing is an accessory, it's removable, and even a repaint of that jetpack came with the weapons pack, accessories pack, so yeah. These wings were glued on, and actually, yeah, if you buy Stratos reissue at some point, they still probably are, though I detached the hands and unglued them so they can rotate, because the wings were like this originally, but they look better like this. Yeah. So that was on February. Also, for some, well, the March figure, which I'm going to show next, is something that actually was for some also on February. And the character I'm talking about is Faker, and this character was originally the New York Comic Con 2009 exclusive, and it was sold at the con on February 2009. But before the con, Mattel noticed that there won't be a March figure, because Mer-Man, that was supposed to be March figure, was going to be delayed. So they made Faker an actual March figure. Of course, at that point there was not any kind of subscription services or anything like that, and there was no need to have as many figures to be around than other, well, monthly figures. But yeah, and Faker comes with these swords and not more. It's a straight He-Man repaint like the original, and it's the only figure so far that is straight, no any extra tooling figure. And I'm not going to take the armor off now, but you can see a little bit there. There's the picture of machinery or control panel of Faker, and that's in this figure. On this line it's painted on, it's not a sticker like originally. As far as repaints go, I like these. Yeah. Okay, and then we come to the figure that was supposed to be originally March figure but was delayed. The figure I already mentioned, Mer-Man, and this figure was sold in 2 batches. There was 2 sale dates for this, and on first sale date there was a bug on Magic Collector site which prevented any international buyers buying this figure. So most international fans were able to buy the figure from the second batch. There was a workaround, but I noticed that too late, because the sale time was under an hour on both times. And this figure came with second head. It was the first figure on this line to come with extra head. And there's also the sword. And you probably noticed that this Mer-Man I have is missing a paint application from there. I actually didn't even notice, but at the point I got this reissue version, I had still my packaged first issue version, so I know, while I didn't notice at first, but then I was looking at my first issue. I noticed that there should have been a blue paint on there. That first issue is now sold off, and I only have this. Not going to buy another Mer-Man just because little bit blue paint is missing. It would be a little bit too expensive. Okay, then from April to May there is Zodac, one of the boring characters in my opinion. It's a classic vintage character, straight update from the 1980s version. Okay, and then after May comes June, and with June comes evil. Even though Skeletor is probably the most iconic evil in Masters of the Universe, and well, but for some it's debatable if him or this figure or character is more evil. Say hello to Zodac. And this was the first character I bought 2 pieces of and opened one of them. This here is the first one I ever opened from the package. I have the in-packaged one still. Very nice looking figure, awesome character, though I'm not that fond of these well flat abs, and this was the first figure to have those flat abs and this kind of not full armor. Yeah. Then after June comes July, and with July comes one of the most likable, iconic, heroic warrior, who is or was, well, Duncan, also known as the Man-at-Arms. And like Mer-Man, he came with the second head, original toy head and more cartoon inspired head. And he came with lots of accessories, the sword and blaster and, well, the techno power sword. Not in my canon, it's not a power sword, it's just some mechanical sword for Duncan, and of course the mace. And if you look carefully, these armor pieces are not, well, Duncan's originals. I do have the original pieces, but these are from some other character. But we come to that when it's time to visit 2011 figures. Okay, that was Duncan, also known as Man-at-Arms. Let's put him down there. And after Man-at-Arms came San Diego Comic-Con 2009. And of course the figure that many thought to be an April Fool's joke at first, because it was revealed on April 1st originally. That figure was, well, was whatever, something that fans have wanted some time, decades, never had actual figure release in 1980s, only a prototype that never became an actual figure. It's Hero, the most powerful wizard in the universe. Well, in this line the title says Cosmic Warrior or something like that. Yeah, so this is the Comic Con exclusive. Well, actually this is MatchCollector.com version. Of course, only difference with those two versions, Magic Collector and San Diego version, was that at Comic Con, on Comic Con version, there's the Comic Con logo under the armor painted on Hero's chest. So actually this is more preferred for me. Then that's not all for Hero. Well, he came with this nice translucent blue sword. That was actually originally going to be, well, actually not going to be, but the prototype we saw at first, the Masters of the Universe Classics prototype, I mean, was kind of smoky grey and had some glitter in it. And then they made it blue. Some like that change, some not. Of course, this version doesn't have any kind of glitter in the sword. Those spots are kind of grey or something like that paint on this blue sword. Actually, this blue is also paint. This sword is actually the translucent, clear translucent plastic. But that's not all. There's something, there was, well, 3 versions of Hero. Well, technically there was only 3 versions of this thing inside here. There was 3 different colors of these spell stones. Like you can see, mine is purple, though on video it may seem more blue, but it's purple. That's the lowest made color. Then there was red. That personally I don't like at all, at least how it looks like on pictures, because I haven't seen it in real life. That was the second least made. And then there was the green stone. Well, at least on pictures it doesn't look that bad. I haven't seen it in real life either. Then that green one was most common one. Still, even if this is supposed to be the rarest, well, I have also packaged Hero and it has also purple stone. Of course, you actually can't see the color of this stone until you open the figure, because it's packaged closed like this. But there is this one flashlight trick you can do to determine what color you have. Well, that trick worked for this, and it seemed to be similar on my other one. So yeah, so that was San Diego Comic Con exclusive, which is kind of extra figure. Okay, well, while San Diego Comic Con was on July, and that version sold there was of course sold on July, this Magic Collector version was sold on August, well, early August, but still August. But of course, after Hero came the actual August 2009 figure, which was, well, it was not this is one of the accessories, but these Triclops. This is Triclops' Doomseeker. That's, well, Doomseekers are from 2000X Mike Young Productions animated series. He also came with this ring, and depending on how thick your fingers are, you may even be able to use this like a ring. Of course, it helps that this is kind of open, not kind of closed, so it little bit, well, gives in. And this ring glows in dark. It also opens, and in there is the Masters of the Universe Classics logo. I'm not going to open this now, but you should know. And why this ring? It was because original Triclops came with one. Also, I mean the vintage one. Also Trapjaw came, but not Classics Trapjaw. But more about Masters of the Universe Classics Trapjaw on our next video. And Triclops came with his sword and non-removable daggers. And this visor, of course, rotates. And actually, if you want, you can even take it off. It's removable. And this is, well, one of the most wanted reissues to date, because Triclops has not gotten any actual reissue yet. There have been a couple of occasions where it has been sold after the initial sale date, but those have been leftover stock, but not actual reissue. Actually, the Zodac is also one of those figures, but demand for Triclops is much higher, even though Triclops was higher amount produced than Zodac. Okay, that was Triclops. Then is time for September, and September brought us another bad guy, and also September was the start of new Masters of the Universe Classics subscription service. The first subscription service was only 4 figures for September, October, November and December. And this September figure was the first subscription figure. And of course, it's web store, having some vintage elements, well, mostly vintage elements, and then some 2000 elements, these legs. Nice looking, not the best, but not the worst. Yeah. And this hook is nice. I'm actually having web store hanging on there on the well, you know. Okay. Actually, this is also one of the figures that many fans hope to be reissued. Not as much as Triclops, but still somewhat. As also this one has not been reissued, which is kind of weird, well, it's not weird, because there has been many fans that have came in the middle of this line, or have not been on this line from the very beginning, so they may have not have this. Of course, maybe Mattel sees this, that because this was not that highly demanded originally, it's not worth of reissue, but that's Mattel logic. And yes, it was that at one point it was pretty hard to resell web store, because it seemed that that was the figure that everyone had and no one needed. Of course, that's about a couple of years ago, so things have changed. Yeah, but that was web store, and then came October, and with October came bonus figures. Yes, of course, because bonus figures were not a huge success, they kind of not continued. Well, kind of did and kind of didn't, but the actual release for October was my second favorite figure from this line to date, and well, and of course it's the first female on this line. It's Teal. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's awesome. And it's something that also fans hope to be reissued, because it has not got an actual reissue since the original sale. There have been a couple of, well, actually I think there's only been one clearance sale where this momentarily was available, but nothing more. Teal came with two heads. This one you see here, I prefer, and this vintage kind of thing. Also, this head actually can be removed from this armor piece, but let's keep it on for now. Also, it came with Zoa. Yeah, the bird which we'll see many repaint versions in the future, but it was the first time it was released on this line. Actually, this, even though this mold was meant for Zoa originally, but there was a DC Universe Classics figure falcon or this kind of bird released before this, but it was just because it was released before this. But it was but the mold was, according to Mattel, always meant to be used for this. Okay, well, nice. One thing that fans hope that reissue will get, if we get a reissue of Teal ever, is that this dress would be softer, because this is pretty hard and, well, it limits the movement and articulation. From beauty, well, it's not a beast exactly, but it's the first bonus figure on this line. It's a repaint. It's Zodac, yes. And you heard right, it's Zodac. It's Zodac ending with K, with letter K. Z-O-D-A-K. The other one is Z-O-D-A-C. This is the 2000X Mike Young Productions animated series version of that character. Obviously, they kind of are the same character, but on this line they were made separate because Mattel wants to sell more figures and fans want more versions of characters, so they made them different characters. And this figure has one special thing about him. Those blue tattoos, they glow in the dark. Well, the glow is kind of dim, but they do glow. I've seen it myself, though it needs a little bit charging before it glows, because it's paint and not glow in dark plastic, and there's a big difference. Okay, well, this figure didn't sell very good. Actually, it took 2 weeks to sell out. Well, actually, I don't think it sold out. I think Mattel pulled it out after 2 weeks, because this never have had an actual reissue, but it's been offered a couple of times after initial sale date. So there probably was many Zodacs left after they removed him from the site. Okay, but then next came November with one of the, well, probably one of the coolest figure. It's pretty high on my list. It's not the highest place, but pretty high, and it's pretty cool. Well, it has a feature that is pretty cool, and that character is Scarecrow. Yes, the one that really glows in the dark. If you compare glow on these tattoos and glow of this, well, there's no competition. This loses then 0 or even more. Scarecrow is made from glow in the dark plastic, and these black things are then painted on, which is actually better in my opinion. It looks kind of evil and skeleton-y, while this thing, bright green, is kind of not. I know that the vintage one came with this colored staff weapon, but this is kind of too bright in my opinion. And the blade is glowing in the dark. Also, it has one of the coolest accessories released on this line. The chain is real, actual metal. It also has this awesomely sculpted grey skull thing on top, and there's something inside. The key to Castle Grayskull. And this key was missing from some Scarecrows that was sold. Actually, some Scarecrows were even missing this container. Well, I think for some that have said that they are missing the key, they probably are not missing that key. I'm not saying they are lying. I'm saying that this key might be stuck inside there like it was on mine. But of course there may be those who's missing the key. And I'm keeping the key inside here because that's how I can keep it well safe and sound and not lose it, because it's much easier to not lose this than the little key. Okay, but let's give this back to Scarecrow. And this has never been reissued also. It was some of the Matty Monday packages. I'm not going to explain what those are if you don't know, but some of those were having Scarecrows in them, but not all. So there are many who misses this, and this is kind of very wanted figure because of not reissued, and you can see that this is cool. Mostly, of course, well, some may like the figure for what it is, but the glow in the dark thing, it makes this awesome. And this cape, it looks nice too. Okay, from Scarecrow to, well, December. Well, actually on November there was one other figure released, but it was not a new figure. It was actually He-Man reissue. Actually, that He-Man you saw, well, in the beginning of this video was from November 2009. Okay, but December brought us something royal, not royal pain, while some are not fond of how this figure looks, and there are many jokes about this figure, but still it's nice to have King of Eternia in your hands. And of course this figure is not being reissued also, so this is also pretty high on figures wanted to be reissued list. Yeah. And with the King, well, there was technically two figures released, one new and one old. The old figure was reissue of Skeletor. Actually, that Skeletor you saw earlier was from December 2009. So those are late 2009. So the first reissues on this line, and then there has been many other reissues after that. But let's put King down, and then it's time for one final figure character, the Green Goddess. Yeah. when this figure was first shown on San Diego Comic Con 2009, it was only a green Teal repaint, but this is made from translucent plastic. While this is kind of nice figure, I bought 2 of these. I opened one and kept another one in package. Well, then of course fans didn't know what we know now, that many goddesses have a pretty bad error or manufacturing error. They tend to break. Well, mine is kind of broken, but it only has chipped. Piece of her neck was broken off. So, but other goddesses have broken from somewhere very different place, from the crotch. I'm not wanting to be dirty, but on some goddesses that piece there is not, well, very durable. It's kind of explosive, being kind of explosive. And I think that someone will get nightmares of this when I'm doing this. Or what's worse, when I'm going to do this. There's not many goddess owners that would do this, well, willingly. But I've done it many times before. I would rotate this all around, but it's kind of very stiff to rotate even this far, and I don't think this dress would give any more. So this is the most I can rotate. If I could, I would rotate more. This dress is the hardest dress on any female figure. This is, well, something that should be corrected if reissue ever comes, which probably never comes. Well, this and Zodac were the 2 first no reissues bonus figures. Yeah, both took 2 weeks to sell out. Well, like I said with Zodac, I don't think this sold out, and I'm pretty sure this didn't sell out either. At the time when they were selling these, yes, I pretty much thought it sold out actually. But after that I've seen how metal works and I don't believe it anymore. But these 2 figures sealed the bonus figure fate, meaning that I'm not sure what the metal's original idea was, because now we are having 4 bonus figures a year. I'm not sure how often these would have come if these would have been sell more, because according to metal there would have been even more bonus figures if these had sold better. Of course, now we also have beasts and other kinds of things, so we probably have more figures, well, coming each year now than at this point would have ever believed possible. But yeah, the Goddess concluded the year 2009 for Masters of the Universe. Of course, as international fan, it was 2010 January when I got this. Actually, same also applies to King Rando, Skeletor reissue, Scarecrow and He-Man reissue, because even November orders and subscription didn't arrive before end of the year 2009. Well, you probably saw that Goddess came with these accessories, but that's not all. Goddess also came with He-Man accessories minus the power sword. Well, technically sword, because He-Man comes with 1.5 swords. And this is kind of packaged nicely. And one reason I wanted to keep one in package was that this here reminds the scene from the very first mini comic where this goddess, or the sorceress at the time, how it was called, it presented He-Man his accessories like this, and these are kind of well positioned like they were in that comic, so it's kind of nice display piece. But of course it's also right now it's not also a good backup if my goddess decides to explode her crotch at some point. And no, and don't think anything dirty about that. Exploding crotch for goddess is very literal description. Fans have said that the crotch may literally may explode without any warning. Yeah, mine haven't done it, hopefully never does. But yeah, that's it. That was the year 2008 and 2009 of Masters of the Universe Classics, the figures, and on these videos the 2 more I'm going to do, and probably after 2012 is out, going to do next year another video maybe, but these 3 I'm now going to do. I'm going to only focus on figures and on nothing more. But yeah, 2010, yeah, there was a much more figures to come. There was much more figures released than on 2009 and 8. But that's for next video. For this video I'll say goodbye. We'll see each other next time on that next part of or with some next video. But until then, it's goodbye for now. Bye.